From Wall Street to Main Street, this is Lalate.
It's a huge night here on Evenings Lalate for June 23rd, 2022. As the Congress is set to leave town, and just in the nick of time because the economy's falling apart. But I got a forcible check for you in every U.S. state. Don't worry about them. We'll go over the latest details on why you have to become a member and get these big checks, because the downward spiral of this economy will happen exactly when Congress leaves town. Are they going to leave town in August? And the downward spiraling will happen right in September. But do Americans know it's coming? In tonight's recording, we'll go over why the warning signals are there, why the viewership of this channel are ready to pounce and get these big checks right today to prepare their family, why the average American doesn't know this and isn't preparing. How do you prepare? We'll go over the situations of what you need to know. We'll be going over your benefits going up. We'll go over where the recession is coming and when it's arriving. And we'll go over the latest details of breaking financial news tonight, and there is a lot of them. Inflation continues to track higher, and unemployment continues to surge out of control. Meantime, what is going on with gas prices as the White House signals a solution, and the solution is $1. Well, the latest details on that. Housing has continued to slip, and autos continue to fall, and I already told you that travel and leisure has major problems. Well, today, they announced the closure of many of their airport or their destinations. While the latest breaking news tonight, we have good news as more student loan debt forgiveness is about to be announced, but this is likely the final announcement. I'll tell you how much, when, and where in tonight's recording. Plus, we'll go over the analysis of stimulus checks, the pure stimulus check, and why Americans have become a little bit lazy about them, and why they think they're coming when they're not, based upon their conception of them. We'll go over that financial cliff that's coming and why you got to get every stimulus check that I got for you later in this recording, upwards of $80,000. Then also later in this recording, we have your checks going all up if you're on benefits. We got a great night. We have a lot of money. We have a lot of preparation for the storm out to sea. And America's most watched show for financial news starts right now. It's Evenings Lalate. And good evening, everybody. It's June 23rd, 2022 for the shores of Santa Monica, California. Hope you're doing well and hope you're ready to survive this financial cliff. As Jay Powell says, is very possible to happen. In tonight's recording, we're going to go over the bifurcation of the American public. One group of people watching this channel and one group of people out to left field, and why the people out to left field are going to be left out to sea when the storm comes on land. How are you? It's a beautiful day, and it's bitterly hot here in Los Angeles today. Oh boy, I hope it cools down where you are. Tonight, we know a little bit more about where this economy is, where it's going, and those 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state. That's what we do on Lalate, America's #3 most watched financial news channel in America. And later in this video, we're going to do all of those. We're going to get you those checks upwards of $80,000. You deserve them. You need to get them. Number 2, we're going to give you the latest update on this economy tonight, because you need to know where this economy is every minute, because it's getting really bad very quickly. And then we'll give you the projections of where it's going. Tonight, we start with the breaking news announcement as the President of the United States is likely to reveal the final chapter of the student loan debt forgiveness. The President's likely to announce in the month of July or August, I believe it's going to be August before Congress goes on recess, the student loan debt forgiveness final chapter. It will likely be $10,000, says Insider. This is breaking news tonight. And it culminates 2 years of much of nowhere. It's always been $10,000. I said it was going to be $10,000. People thought it was going to be $50,000. It's still $10,000. The announcement will likely be $10,000 for all borrowers who make $150,000 or less. Meantime, if you are one of the plaintiffs in the lawsuit of Sweet versus Cardano, yes, that's Miguel Cardano, head of education, there's a settlement reached today, $6 billion settlement for 200,000 borrowers. Your debts are being wiped out. Their debts were procured because of improper actions, and their debts are being forgiven completely across the board. Consumer confidence tonight fell to its lowest levels we've seen in a long time. First, we have people uncomfortable with the amount of money they have set aside. Are you uncomfortable? Jump in the live chat. Are you uncomfortable? Not uncomfortable watching me. I mean, uncomfortable about how much money you set aside. If there's none set aside, you're very uncomfortable with it. Well, that number's up from 44% to 58%. Wow. Then we have the number of people who are comfortable with their emergency savings is now at 42% and down from 54%. Are you comfortable with that? If there's nothing, you're probably not comfortable with that either. Tonight, we also have indications that legislators would likely never do a pure stimulus check of $600 or $200 or $300 or whatever the ridiculous number is if it's to battle inflation, but likely if it's to battle recession. But the recession is not coming to next year, and you need a check right today. That's why I have checks for you later in this recording. They're not 5 weeks from now, not 5 months from now, not 5 years from now. They're late in this recording. They're $80,000 for stimulus checks. In many cases, you qualify for over $100,000. Corporate layoffs are going to heat up in the next 90 days. You're going to first see layoffs spread. Then you hear corporate freezes, which means hiring freezes, which means they're not going to accept any applications. And then you're going to hear store closures. We're currently in the first of those three events, the layoffs, with Tesla announcing 10% of its workforce gone. Coinbase 18%, and tonight more with Netflix announcing 300 employees gone. We continue to invest significantly in the business, and we'll continue to deal with slower growth numbers. It was just days ago that I said the airlines have lost their focus. So has auto, housing, and travel and leisure, and hospitality. By raising the prices of items, and you're not going to buy them at their price levels because they're greedy, they want the same profit level. I said no one is going to pay $500 for a flare round trip from here to Toledo. That was my joke 2 nights ago. Well, guess what? I guess the joke was actually the truth, because guess what tonight? American Airlines has ended its service to Toledo. I'm not joking. That's actually what happened. American Airlines tonight announced that it's closing its destination to 4 cities, including Toledo, Islip, Ithaca, and Dubuque. If I pronounced that wrong, I'm sorry. And then United Airlines will be cutting 50 of its flights to Newark, effective shortly thereafter. Airlines are not getting people to pay $500 to go to Toledo, so they're not going to Toledo. Now, here's what you need to know about your wallet. 3 things. 1, you need to prepare your family. 2, you need to prepare your household. And number 3, you need to know where this economy is going. There are several issues at point tonight, and it concerns labor, it concerns inflation, and it concerns you as a consumer. When you look at the situation for unemployment, it's very important to understand this is where we're going. If you're an employee, listen up. If you're not an employee, but you have a son or daughter who is, listen up for them. And if you don't know anyone that's employed, and everyone's unemployed, listen up as well. Unemployment continues to surge as the labor numbers continue to grow. 230,000 new jobless claims last week. But guess what? 1.5 million unemployed people generally week after week. And the Federal Reserve has a dual mandate. Jay Powell, a dual mandate to reduce inflation, to get price stability, otherwise it's called, or price stability. And then the other part of the dual mandate is to have maximum employment. Last night, Liz Warren said to Jay Powell on Capitol Hill when he testified before the Senate Banking Committee with Liz Warren, she said, Mr. Powell, we currently have good employment, not that good. It's 250,000 people newly unemployed every week, but you're trying to bring us from good employment and bad inflation to lower inflation and bad employment. That doesn't fulfill the mandate. And he says, well, yeah, you may be right. And she said, what the likelihood of you setting us off a financial cliff for you trying to pursue inflation and destroying the labor market? And he said that a financial cliff is possible. Imagine that. The head of the Federal Reserve for June 22nd, yesterday, saying a financial cliff is likely possible, that he's going to result in getting you unemployed and a recession growing. Now imagine if you're employed tonight and you're hearing that. or if you have a son or daughter that is employed and hearing that as well. What you need to do right tonight is understand the next 90 days, I believe that unemployment is going to go higher. I believe gas prices are going to go higher, and I believe interest rates are going to go higher. Also, the next 90 days, price of goods, recessionary winds, and mortgage rates. Meantime, what's also going to go lower in the next 90 days is consumer confidence, spending, and income. And do not expect fast action from Congress, inflation lower, or gas lower. What you are going to expect is a forced stimulus check. And in the second half of this video, we got that forced stimulus check in every U.S. state. Here's the reality check. This is June 23rd, 2022. Guess what happens in August? Congress goes on recess. Congress is never going to get you any money in your hands between now and August. I am. You are. We're going to get you forced stimulus checks not 5 weeks from now, not 5 months from now, not 5 days from now, 5 minutes from now. Well, it's about 10 minutes later in this video. It's coming up because the forced stimulus checks are in every U.S. state tonight, and Congress ain't going to get it done before Phase 2. Let's go back to that Phase 2. It's between now and September. September is when Phase 2 hits, and guess when Phase 2 hits? Exactly when Congress is out of town. Yeah, it's just always convenient. They leave town as soon as things get really bad, and then they show up when things are bad, and then they say, oh, what I missed? What'd you miss? What you miss is people need to become members. Go right in this video right now and become a member, because in the second half of this video, we're going to go over those incredible checks in every U.S. state. When the airlines are cutting destinations, that is just the start of that storm out to sea. That storm out to sea is what I've been detailing on this channel since February. Since February, I said there's a storm out to sea, Jamie Dimon says there's a hurricane down the road. Now, let me make this very clear to you, or let's do it, you and I, as a family in the live chat right now. Jump in the live chat if you're watching this live. If I was a weatherman and I said there's a storm out to sea, and it's a hurricane, and it's going to hit your home, and there is a projection that's coming due straight on your home, what would you do? You prepare. You prepare that home. You board it up. You get the food. You get the car loaded up. Now, if you did nothing, what would be the response? What would be the adjective to describe nothing that for someone who knows a hurricane is coming right at their home? Lazy. Ridiculous. That's the only thing you could say about anyone else who doesn't watch this channel, because I'm telling you, in 90 days, the storm is coming right for you, and it's called the economy. And in 90 days, you got to be prepared. So tonight, I'm going to show you how to be prepared for all my different type of viewers, whether you're employed or seniors or retirees or not. I'm going to show you how to get prepared, and it involves a lot of different steps, and I want to make sure you do it across the board. How do you get prepared in the next 90 days? First, I need you to remove all instruments of debt that you have in the household if you do not have it. What do you need to do? First, you need to remove as much expenditure that you have in this economy as much as you can. Get your stimulus later in this recording, as I'm going to show you in just a second, and then raise your savings as much as you can. What do? When you raise your savings and not dip into them, then you're preparing yourself accordingly. But when you are dipping into savings, you're not preparing. What do we know? We know that 40% of Americans not watching this channel are dipping into savings. That's not good. That they're increasing credit card debt. That's not good. And that they are continuing to hold in their household adjustable rate debt. That's like credit card debt, car loan debt. You got to do the reverse. You got to start cutting your costs, raising your savings, getting as much stimulus as you can, and getting your adjustable rate debts removed. Because guess what? You got 90 days. That storm is arriving in 90 days, coming right at your home in September. September is going to look like day one of the pandemic of March of 2020. And when it comes right to your household, what are you going to do? You're going to have a lot of money in your wallet because you're going to have it prepared by getting that forced stimulus check in the second half of this video. Tonight, we know a lot more about what's going on in Phase 3. That Phase 3 is the recession, and that Phase 3 is caused by a domino effect featured earlier today on Afternoons LA. It starts with gas prices staying high. That causes the consumer price index to stay high, that is inflation, and it causes the Fed to continue to raise rates. With that, you go into recession. When you go into recession in January next year, it's going to be catastrophic. It's going to be nothing like the pandemic. It's going to be a lot worse. Tonight, what do we know about the American public? We know that in a series of polls, the American public believes this is a recession. It's not. They believe this is as bad as it's going to get. It's not. They believe this is the bottom, where you're talking about stock market or crypto or something like that, or housing. It's not. And many of them, in my opinion, believe that this will have ready for them lots of checks. You see them on Twitter. You've seen those people on Twitter say, give me a $10,000 monthly stimulus check followed by $2,000 every month for 20 years. Not going to happen. Why is it not going to happen? Because last night Joe Biden gave you a stimulus check. $1.82. Do you think he's going to give you $10,000? He's not. Now, the good news is I have stimulus checks from Joe Biden. They were done by executive order months ago. They're coming up later in this recording. But here's what you need to know. You can't live in a fake narrative of money that's no one's going to give you anytime soon of, $20 trillion, this automatic checks, just because you're going to go into big trouble. The stock market, for example, people think this is the bottom. Wrong. Stocks are down 26% year to date, but that's just not the bottom. That's what you see in a bear market. In a recession plus a bear market, guess what? You go down 48%. So people think that this is the bottom, and they're already bottom picking in this market. They're going to get hit really dramatically. We also know that people that are thinking that this is the bottom of the housing market also going to get hit. Housing sales are down 17%, and the mortgage rates continue to slump down to the lowest numbers of 20 years. What's going to happen? If you're one of those home buyers or one of those home builders and you have not adjusted the price on your home, start doing it, because the home ain't going to sell. Mortgage rates are too expensive, and while those housing sales continue to fall, they're going to fall even more because no one's going to be able to buy, just like auto. No one's going to be able to afford a car because you can't afford the interest rates. And what are we all leaning up to? Yes, the financial cliff that Liz Warren asked Jay Powell about. That financial cliff is a major financial warning. How many Americans know there's a financial cliff coming? Very few. How many people listened to Liz Warren interview Jay Powell or ask him questions yesterday? Well, I don't know, but less than you would expect in this economy. And if they don't know there's a financial cliff coming, they don't know there's a storm out to sea. They don't know there's a storm out to sea. They're not preparing. And guess what they're going to do? They're going to be on this channel in October after phase 1 starts saying, Lalate, I just got laid off. And I thought I could have got another job, but I can't. And I thought, I could have asked for a salary raise or a hiring bonus. They wouldn't even open their doors. In fact, their doors are closed. The business went under next door. The business went under the next day after that. Do you got some unemployment stimulus for me? I don't. I don't think millions of Americans understand that unemployment stimulus is gone. PUA, that unemployment stimulus created in 2020, first stimulus for independent contractors, gone. FPUC, that $600 a week that goes on top of your existing benefits, gone. PEUC, those extra weeks of benefits that was in the first stimulus, gone. And then PPP, small business owner, independent contractor, gone. EIDL grant, small business owner, independent contractor, gone. EIDL grant, small business owner, gone. Let's look at all the rest of you, renters and homeowners. Eviction moratorium, gone. You could be evicted. Mortgage forbearance, gone. You can have your home foreclosed. What about the utilities? Yes, you don't pay your utility bill. It can be turned off. This is not the pandemic. Does this look so serious? If it doesn't yet, it really should. Because this is not 2020. Anyone who jumps in the live chat, anyone who tells you the grocery market, you know what? In 2020, that's how they did it for me. Look at them straight in the eye and say, folks, this is 2021. This is 2021. We're in the midst of the worst inflationary environment of a generation. We're heading to the recession, the first of a generation. You think that people are going to pay you the same way they did during 2020 when times were not that bad? Let's make this clear. Let's look at that graph again. The financial cliff, well, the financial cliff, it depends on where you defined it coming. Jay Powell didn't make it clear in his comments. I'll make it clear in my opinion, starting right now. I believe the financial cliff is really, yes, September. I think that's the financial cliff because it's going to be an abrupt change from what happened just weeks ago. And when it happens, people will not be ready. Jay Powell says he's getting inflation down to 2% later this year. It's not going to happen. Jay Powell's giving you guidance. A lot of the stuff he says is not going to happen. That's why you have to become a member. Go right in this video and get those four stimulus checks in every U.S. state. When we saw in this recording that Travel and Leisure decided to, cut routings into Newark, cut routings into Toledo, they understood that what they were doing by raising the prices was not working. Tonight, I want to detail something else to you, which has not been potentially clear before because I haven't really potentially brought it up, which is when Jay Powell raises interest rates, everything goes bad. Number one, if you raise interest rates, those small business owners can no longer afford the debt. A lot of small businesses run on debt. Loans on the delivery trucks, loans on the merchandise, involve a credit loan to operate the business. Even small or medium-sized businesses, even large-sized businesses have debt. If they can't afford the debt, what do? They lay you off. If they lay you off, what do? You try to find another job. If there is no other job, what do? You can't increase the debt. You can't run the credit card debt up because you can't afford it. Jay Powell is going to do, in my opinion, the following types of debt increases. Interest rate increases over the next FOMC meetings. In the month of July, 3 quarters. In the month of August, they're off. In the month of September, 3 quarters. In the month of October, half, then quarter. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Imagine how much that's going to hurt your credit instruments at home. That's why if your credit card debt, get rid of it. If your car loans, get rid of it. If you're senior, do not dip into your savings. Don't do that. And if you're an employee, please find that backup job. Now, that's why it's so important to get the 4 stimulus checks that are in every U.S. state. Back in the month of March, I got them for this channel's viewers, and I have them for you in the second half. They are up to $80,000. 4 focuses. 1, get checks from my viewers, the broadest checks that are eligible for the most viewers possible. Number 2, get big checks, big ones, not puny little checks. Number 3, get them fast. As soon as they're announced, viewers asked me to get those checks in March. I got them immediately. My turnaround time was less than 24 hours. They were in the broadcast that night and in the newsletter that night. That's a fast turnaround time. And number 4, tell my viewers, keep on getting checks. Keep on getting checks every single day. If you're new to this channel, welcome. If you've been a long-time viewer, then welcome back. Here's what you need to know. In the second half of this video, I'm going to go over how you get these 4 stimulus checks in every U.S. state. 2 types of people in this economy, as we talked about earlier in this recording. People think that everything is just sort of automatic. When is an automatic check landing in my bank account because I have a beautiful smile? Never. Never. But in 2020, stop. This ain't 2020. This is 2021. This ain't 2021. This is 2022. This isn't in 2022. This is the worst part of 2022. We're heading into a financial cliff. And then what about 2023? A recession. Can you imagine someone describing 2022, which is a financial cliff and coming into recession, the same as 2020? You should be treated the same as 2020. It's ridiculous. And that ridiculous, that laziness by that person who doesn't want to raise their fingers and go get the money is going to really leave their families in bad despair. If you feel the pressure of this economy right now, understand this is not the recession. It's going to be a lot worse. And that is why, as inflation goes higher, unemployment's going to go higher. As unemployment goes higher, then it's important to get those 4 stimulus checks faster and quicker. And tonight, we're going to get them in the big second half. In the second half, we're going to go over not 1, but lots of checks in every U.S. state. You qualify. Single individual, $75,000 less, you get them. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get them. If you rent, if you own, if you're single, if you're married, if you have children, if you don't have children, if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, veterans benefits, and more. All you need is your fingers, your hands, and your telephone. What you need to know is that in the next 90 days, gasoline's not going low and inflation is not going lower. There's not going to be a fast action from Congress, but that there is currently a 4th stimulus check now in every U.S. state. This is why Lalate is the #3 most watched financial news channel in America, heading to #1. Because the second half of this video, I'm going to go over these checks. You're not going to see them anywhere else in broadcast media. You're not going to see them in your local news. You're not going to see them in your print paper. They don't care about whether you lose your job or not. They don't even care if their analysis is right. Do you think Jay Powell cares that he is chasing to reduce inflation and potentially throwing you off a financial cliff? When Liz Warren asked him, he says a very big possibility. That's why you have to become a member right tonight, because I care. Go right in this video, become a member, get an incredible newsletter that everyone's talking about, the Lalate newsletter, that features where this economy is, where it's going every night, and features those forced stimulus checks in every U.S. state. In the second half of this video, we're going to go over these incredible forced stimulus checks in every U.S. state, and then we'll go over what's going on with gasoline and why gasoline is throwing us into recession. It's about as black and white as it can be, and all the analysis tonight on what's going on with the gasoline and the lack of action from the Western allies and the president. But first, here's a little bit about the members community page. See you back in 60 seconds as America's most loved show in prime time, Evenings LA, continues.
If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join Lalate Daily for the excitement of the new Lalate live daily. The excitement starts on mornings Lalate at 9 a.m. Home Lalate returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons Lalate at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on Lalate.
And the excitement continues right now as a big second half of Evenings LA for June 23rd, 2022 heats up. A forced stimulus check is now in every U.S. state, and I found it back in the month of March for my viewers, and the big second half, we're going to go over those incredible checks. You need to grab them because this economy is getting really bad very quickly. You need them to survive, as the downward spiral between now and September is just days away. You need it because we're going to recession next year. You need it because Congress is going on recess in the month of August. They ain't going to get money in your hand in the next 90 days, and you need it because if you think this economy is unstable right now, get ready for September. In this big second half, we're going to go over those big checks. But did you become a member during the commercial break? What are you waiting for? Join the thousands of viewers who have. Go right on this video and hit that join button. Hit that join button and become a Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Casino VIP. Get those incredible checks and learn about how to get them every night when you get that membership newsletter. We're going to go over all those incredible checks starting right now. A forced stimulus check is in every U.S. state, not just one, but lots of them, upwards of over $100,000 a person. And these were the result of executive actions from Joseph Biden back in March and also actions from the states. Yes, these checks are in every U.S. state. Yes, you qualify. My four focuses, again, in getting you these checks were the following. First, I wanted to ensure that you qualify. So I wanted to ensure that the most of you get these checks as possible. And what did I do? Look for broad eligibility. Single individual, $75,000 less, and go get them. Married couple, $150,000 less, and go get them. If you rent, if you own, if you're on benefits, if you're not on benefits, young and old, go get them. They're for you. Number two, what are big checks? Big checks, not small checks. You got to survive between now and September, and then you can hopefully survive as long as you can thereafter. Winter months are going to be horrible. Horrible. Imagine the heating oil and the gas bill. We featured that a few nights ago on this channel. How important to establish that relationship for that payor now. If you didn't watch those videos, watch them a few days ago. And finally, you go get these checks this moment. You got a 90-day pre-warning between now and September. You don't wait 90 days, 9 weeks, 9 days, or 9 hours. You get these big checks. You ready to get them? Let's go get them. That first check in every U.S. state is $6,500 to $12,000. It's a 4 stimulus check in every U.S. state, and boy, is it wonderful. Single individual, $75,000 or less, go get them. Individuals that are on benefits, go get them. And this is called the Weatherizing Grant Check. It's absolutely wonderful. What you need to know is that you need to grab these checks and not wait, because they're there today but may be gone tomorrow. When you look at these incredible checks, what do you need to know? They're there and you need to pounce. Check number A, here we go, $6,500 to $12,000. A 4 stimulus check in every U.S. state. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. They're called the Homeowners Weatherizing Grant Check. Would you like $12,000? Well, what are you doing? Go get them. Step 1, subscribe to this channel. Go right under the video right now and subscribe. Step 2, become a member. Go into this video and join this channel. Become one of the thousands of people who are members of this channel that has 250,000 viewers. Excuse me, 250,000 subscribers. Then get that newsletter Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system. Go right down in the newsletter till you find Check A. And when you find Check A, click the link. It will send you right into the nationwide website. There you go. Pounce and get that incredible check. But you're not going to stop there yet. You're going to go get Check B. Check B is a wonderful $15,000 to $80,000  4 stimulus check in every U.S. state. Single individual, $75,000 less, go get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, go get it. If you are on benefits, go get it. How do you get it? You know the routine. Subscribe, then become a member, then get that newsletter Monday through Friday, and go right down the newsletter till you find Check B and click the link and apply. Go do it. Do it right now. What are you waiting for? Time is of the essence. That storm is out to sea. Don't wait to get these checks, but you're not going to stop there yet. You're going to go get Check C. Check C is a wonderful check. It's $2,000 a month over 12 months on average, but many viewers have gotten over $45,000. It's a wonderful Check C. How do you get it? Go into the membership newsletter. First, you subscribe, then you become a member. Go down in the membership newsletter till you find Check C, and it tells you where to call, what to say, who to say it to, and how quickly to say it to. And those Check C's have been paying out on this channel since December 2020. Then it became third stimulus, and since then, viewers have taken off. Let's look how they took off. $30,000 for rent. Would you like $30,000 of rent? Go get some Check C's. Would you like $15,000 for utilities? Mark's brother-in-law got it. Go get some Check C's. Combos, Snap. Mark's brother-in-law is getting $25,000 over 10 years. That's $250,000. Combos. Niece is at $23,000. She went to $50,000. Mark is at $32,000. He went to $166,000. Lorraine, she was at $100,000. Now she's at nearly $150,000. 2 nights ago, Lorraine was in the live chat and she said, you know, Lalate, you'd be proud to hear from me, because guess what she said? When I first started watching this channel a few months ago, I had a binder and I started taking notes. The binder's now filled with notes. Because of all the incredible information you impart, I take notes every time I watch the video. That's what I have tonight. And with that, 2 nights ago, I made the major announcement. This week is coming to this channel a new offering for my members. Including your membership will be a link to PDFs that you can print out. They're blank pieces of paper that have headings, the Lalate Purple Power and Purple Hawk logo in the corner, and the headings will be part of a workbook. You print them out and you have sheets so that you can create a workbook just like Lorraine. Do you want a sheet that says gas news? A sheet that has Fed news, Federal Reserve? A sheet that has stimulus news? A sheet that has news about where inflation is going? Things like that. The individual sheets will have their individual headings. There'll be blank pieces of paper where you can take notes on it and put it together on your desk and follow along. Remember, when you learn, you earn. That's why the Lorraines of this channel, you, the Purple Power, are going to do so well as part of this community, because you're doing 3 things every day. You're learning about where this economy is. You're learning about where the economy is going, and you're getting money. People who don't do this are going to be blindsided. Imagine today if you did not watch LA, you would not know the stock market was down 2,000 points. It wasn't. But imagine if you didn't know that and it happened. Imagine if Jay Powell announced today that suddenly he said, I'm going to do interest rate spikes in the next meeting of 1 basis point. 1.0, not 3/4 of a basis point. Imagine how the reaction of the financial markets would be. Imagine if that happened and you didn't hear it. That's why you can't miss a recording on this channel. And imagine what's coming to this channel in less than 90 days. A new look to this channel is coming in less than 90 days, and you're going to be very excited of it. More of Lalate, more news, more information, more money, and more of exactly what exactly you like. It's coming to this channel in less than 90 days. Now, let's go back to September. It's just around the corner. I mean, it's just around the corner. And you may not think this economy for your wallet is yet a horrible situation. You must just think it's, not that good. It's really troubling, but not the apocalypse. Well, September is going to look really bad. September is going to be really bad. And what's going to happen in September is you're going to have not only a stimulus stampede, but also an apocalypse of revelations, where Americans who have gotten used to a universe of laziness are going to wake up and they're going to realize there's no one there to help them. And then they're going to think they're entitled to help, and then they're going to realize there is no help. And that laziness came out of really almost nowhere. To this day, I don't even know where it birthed itself. I believe it birthed itself with people who just got used to direct deposit of measly $600 checks and then thought that the Build Back Better Act is going to give them $80,000 of the same laziness. Now, let's make this very clear. The Build Back Better Act always requires you to do something, always required you to pounce. Build Back Better Act was never laziness personified. But somewhere along that line, that Americans just sort of forgot that there's financial cliffs out there. Financial cliffs are when economies fall apart very quickly, and we learned about them 24 hours ago when Jay Powell was on Capitol Hill and Liz Warren said, Mr. Powell, currently the labor market's not that bad. She's right, it's not that bad, but it's not that good. And she said we have really bad inflation, correct. She said you're trying to bring down inflation as part of your dual mandate of the Federal Reserve, price stability and maximum employment. And she said what you're doing by raising interest rates may solve inflation, but destroy employment. Millions of Americans may become unemployed. Is that a possibility? His response, it is a possibility. Imagine the head of the Federal Reserve, which many think is one of the gurus of economic analysis, is telling you that he thinks it's a possibility. There's a financial cliff right around the corner. Who is the first to say this to you? Me. I called a storm out to sea back in the month of February. Jamie Dimon repeated my comments months later saying, a hurricane down the road. Now this looks like a weather channel, does it not? We're all saying the same thing. There's a very big likelihood that there's a hurricane coming right for your home, or a storm coming right for your home, or you're falling off the side of a cliff. Your house is about to landslide over the side of a hill. What do? Do you do nothing? Or do you do something really quickly? Imagine if someone told you there's a hurricane arriving in your home in 3 days. You'd start to board up the home. You start to prepare your household. You get your things packed and you get ready to run for it. And people who don't, what are they going to do? They're going to be in big trouble. That's why people who are not preparing for this economy really quickly are going to be in big trouble. Unemployment is going to surge out of control. Gasoline prices are going to go higher. And interest rates are going to go higher. That means it's going to be costing very badly to live. And then also the next 90 days, the price of goods will go higher and recessionary winds will pick up. Mortgage rates will surge out of control. Tonight, we know a little bit more of what is very, very likely to happen. There, when we're looking at analysis of this economy, there's sometimes where it looks like it's possible, and other times it looks like it's definitely going to happen. Back last year, I said that we're going to have inflation coming at 8% in December and likely be sustained for several months. When I made that prediction in February, I didn't have a lot of data to run off of to make it a definitive statement. But I said that's my prediction, and it was right. By February, when I said it was going to be sustained 8% inflation, it looked like I had a lot of data supporting me then. It was. 8% February, March, and April continued to sustain itself. By February, it was very apparent we're going into recession. But by March, it was a fait complete. By March, it was absolutely very apparent we're going to recession. Why? Because we knew when Putin invaded Ukraine, if we do not get price stability on gasoline underway, wheat and corn, we're going to recession. And the time frame to get it under control was May. By May, it was clearly a point. We're going to recession. Tonight, the uncertainty we don't know, get ready for this one because it's scary, is whether phase 3 is coming sooner than later. Whether the phase 2 is coming sooner than later. We just don't know. What we do know is that there's a progression of events, a domino series of events that absolutely happens. There's no way for it not to happen, except if event number 1 never occurs. It starts with gasoline. If there's a shortage of gasoline, then gasoline prices go up. Now let's stop right there. If that event never happens, then the rest of the events never occur. But if that event happens, then we proceed. Shortage of gasoline, price of gasoline goes higher. Then what happens right after that? The consumer price index, the CPI, an inflationary gauge used by this U.S. economy, would go higher. 100% guaranteed. When gasoline goes higher, the CPI goes higher. Why? Because the CPI is composed of gasoline. It's composed of gasoline prices and consumer product prices. So if the gasoline prices go higher, the CPI goes higher. What's the next step? Last month, we learned from the Federal Reserve that their new benchmark for determining inflation is the CPI. That's not guaranteed, but it's likely no longer to be changed. That signals that the month of July, the month of September, Jay Powell's going to look at that CPI for that month and say, is it higher? Well, I'm raising interest rates. That is guaranteed. You see how this is happening? Mm-hmm. So the progression starts with gasoline shortage. With the gasoline shortage, everything results with Jay Powell raising interest rates. And when Jay Powell raises interest rates, how definitive are we going into a recession? Pretty much definitive. Because interest rates being raised does not reduce the price of gasoline, and the whole process keeps on repeating itself. Finally, what looks like very much a possibility, that the Western allies that have had months to get 3.5 million barrels of gasoline missing still don't get it. They still don't grasp the severity of the situation, and they don't go get the money. Last night, the President of the United States addressed the American people on dealing with the situation gasoline, and I called his comments ridiculous. Tonight, I say much the same again. The President of the United States had a problem, and that problem manifested itself on Halloween. How do we know it? Because I recorded them. I said, there's 100,000 Russian troops at the Ukrainian border. What are they doing here? What are they doing here? They don't belong here. Are they trying to invade someone? If they invade in 2022, major problem. Biggest economic story of 2022, you better have gasoline ready. I said it. Who also said it? Joe Biden. He said it to Janet Yellen. Do you have a contingency plan lined up? She did not. What happened? March, Putin invaded Ukraine. Gasoline prices surged up dramatically overnight. Did the White House have a solution lined up then yet? No. How about the Western allies? No. The only person that can get the gasoline bought is the leaders of the countries. The leader of France, Italy, Germany, and the United States. Putin invades in March, no deal. They don't even go out and get the gasoline. April, do they go again? No. May, no. By May, the price of gasoline was surging out of control. And what did Joe Biden do? He released 1 million barrels of gasoline per day from the U.S. strategic reserves. Ridiculousness. Why? Doesn't do it. We're missing 3.5 million barrels of gasoline per day, the Western allies. He's releasing just a few barrels left and right here and there. 1 million barrels a day when you're missing 3.5 million barrels a day is not going to cut it, obviously. And it didn't work. What happened after that? The Western allies never pursued any of the 5 countries that had the gasoline. They are Brazil, Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, OPEC+. They attempted once with Iran and they never fall through. And yet, week after week, day after day, they still had not bought the gasoline. The President of the United States last month started a villain campaign. The villain campaign is the U.S. oil refinery companies like Chevron and Shell. What did he say? He said they're to blame. They're not to blame. He said they have increased capacity. What capacity? The president understands, or at least should understand if he has a decent economic council behind them, otherwise get rid of Brian Deasy, is that there's not 3.5 million barrels of gasoline in the ground. If there's not 3.5 million barrels of gasoline in the ground in the United States or any of the Western allies, where do you go get them? From the person who has them, which is Saudi Arabia, OPEC+, Iran, Iraq, and Venezuela and Brazil. If you don't get them, why you complain about someone who doesn't have them? because it's just basically a fake narrative for the press. Yes, the United States saw another presser from the White House and Joe Biden, and what did he say? Number one, my release of the strategic reserves was a great idea. It never worked. It's nice to say your idea was a great idea. It never worked. It never brought down the price of gasoline. In fact, the price of gasoline internationally, Brent crude went through the roof the day he announced it, $120 a barrel. Number two, he said that the big culprit here is the U.S. Petroleum companies. They are to blame for everything. Folks, we all know who's to blame. We all know who's to blame. His name is Joseph Biden. His name is Emmanuel Macron. His name is Chancellor Chancellor of Germany. His name is Boris Johnson. His name is the president of Italy. These are the people to blame. The people in control were supposed to go out and get you oil. They have a checkbook. They were supposed to go out and buy 3.5 million barrels of gasoline for all the Western allies. They have the money. They go out and buy the oil, and then we don't have an oil shortage. It's pretty darn simple, don't you think? You're driving the car. You're going on a holiday this weekend. You're driving down the coast. You're with the wife and the kid's driving the car, and you're in the back seat with your wife. And so you look over the steering wheel and say, son, it looks like you're running out of gas. Dad, I'm okay. This car can go extra miles with when it runs out of gas. How does that work? Don't worry, I got it under control. Just if it runs out of gas, I'll push the car. The car's running out of gas. The U.S. car is running out of gas, and the kid in the front seat, who ain't a kid anymore, keeps on saying, I'm going to blame someone else. It don't solve this equation. And then finally, in the last 24 hours, I've seen people on social media, Twitter and Facebook, saying the way they're preparing for the financial cliff of this economy is advocating. Advocating for what? How about a $6,500 monthly stimulus check followed by $10,000 a month for 5 years? That's nice. You can advocate for whatever you want to advocate for. But let me tell you what Joseph Biden gave you for stimulus yesterday. $1.80. Do you think he's going to give you 90 stimulus checks? Come on already. He gave you $1.80, and he said it's brilliant. He said it gives you a lot of breathing room for the average American worker. What he announced. He's considering to do a tax holiday so that the federal gas tax you pay at the pump no longer has to be paid. How much is this, and how much money would be for you? It would be a grand savings of $1. I kid not. Well, it's actually $1.80. The President of the United States' federal gas tank is 18 cents per gallon at the pump. You're paying 18 cents at the pump to the federal government every time you fill up your car. Now, let's say you have a 10-gallon gas tank in your car, and you go to pay for a $6 gas per gallon price tag. You fill up the car, 6 times 10, $60. You go to pay at the cash register. For that $60, how much is he giving off on that 10-gallon gas tank at 18 cents? $1.80. Oh, yes, thank you, Mr. President. He says, I need to give a little breathing room to the American worker when he really needs that breathing room. I'm sorry, I'm not breathing that well when you're giving me $1.80 off of my $60 gas tank. Now, let's make it very clear. A lot of people don't have $60 gas tanks. They have $120 gas tanks, and he's still giving you about $1 off on the bill. Breathing room? No. Strategic reserves release? Working? No. Blaming the oil executives? No. Not buying gasoline from the West for the Western allies from Brazil and Venezuela and similar countries a solution? No. How is this solution? Is this bad situation continuing, or is it stopping? Stopping? No. It's continuing. Week after week, day after day, there's no change from the White House. And that is why you're going into recession. Joseph Biden last week, Janet Yellen says, a recession is not inevitable. Untrue. Again, untrue. If you do not get gasoline under control, you go into recession. Let's go back to that graphic. If there's a gasoline shortage and gasoline goes higher, then the CPI goes higher, Federal Reserve raises rates, and then he sends you into a financial cliff. Maximum unemployment will go to maximum employment will go to maximum unemployment. People will become unemployed. People lose their homes. People lose their jobs. People lose their cars. And guess what they may do? They may say, well, when are you going to give me a check? You can't wait for that check. you need to become a member. You need to become a member tonight because those checks are available tonight, and those checks are huge, upwards of $80,000. You can't wait for the downward spiral of this economy because when it does, when it hits, it's going to be a stimulus stampede. In the next 90 days, price of goods are going to go higher, recessionary winds are going to pick up, and mortgage rates are going to go higher. Then they're going to force people into unemployment. They're going to ask, where's my FPUC, my PUA, my PEUC doesn't exist. They're going to ask for their small business assistance like EIDL grant and EIDL loan. They won't exist. And the only thing that I'm worried about, on top of everything else I've already said in this channel that I'm worried about tonight, is that phase 2 may come sooner. Phase 3 may come sooner. One of the things that American financial analysts like myself are watching, financial broadcasters are watching, is Europe, which is not just one country, it's a lot of countries, and they have a lot of problems, folks. And we don't know how bad their situation is tonight. We really don't. And if their situation is worse than we think it is, guess what happens? We go into recession sooner. We are a symbiotic relationship with these other countries, and they go into recession sooner than we do in a really bad way. They're going to draw us into recession across the board. Countries like Italy, where they may have gasoline shortages faster than we do, may say to their consumers or their citizens, park your car, can't drive your car. Truck drivers deliver the goods. We're only going to let some of you deliver goods. Imagine what the price of the goods will be at the supermarket if you can't deliver the goods. Imagine with the air travel if you can only travel in certain airlines. Imagine the airlines, if you work for them, when they start to close locations, or the big box retailers when they start to close locations. And then when you look for a job, there is no job. When there's a hiring freeze for not 1 month for 2 years, and this ain't a recession. This ain't a lockdown. This is a shocking event that many people don't even know it's coming and don't even know how to prepare their families or have even started. Tonight, you're starting. Tonight, you're starting this moment. You're not waiting a second. You're making a triple pledge to your family. Triple mandate for your family right tonight. Number 1, you're going to know where this economy is every single day. Number 2, you're going to give the most information you can to yourself of where this economy is going, and you're going to get as much money as you can on this channel on a regular basis. That's why you're going to watch this channel on a regular basis. Know where this economy is, then know where the economy is going, and get checks. As Nisi, Margaret, Johnny, Lorraine, and others continue to do, they keep on getting checks. You're going to keep on getting checks. You need as much money in that bank account. Beef it up right today. Remove the debt, remove the costs, remove the spending as much as you can. I know you all have bills to pay, so that you prepare your family accordingly. Rely on the positivity of this channel. Rely on the kindness of the members of this channel. Rely on the family of this channel, because together we'll be there for one another as this gets really bad very quickly. There's going to be a dark environment out there for other people who don't know where it is. How do I know that? Because that's what created this channel. This channel was created when millions of Americans had applied for a program called the EIDL grant and loan and were not paid. They said, why am I not been paid? And no one had answered their questions until I came around. Out of nowhere, this guy pressed record on an empty beach during a lockdown in March 2020. And I said, here I am. I want you to all come onto ground and let's all talk about this together. And suddenly people said, I always thought I was the only one that was suffering this. I didn't realize since this community was birthed that there was all these other people that suffering the same problems. We all applied on March 30th and we didn't get approved. We all applied on April 8th and our applications were in lockdown or installed mode. It was the vortex of 3:30, the vortex of 4:08, bombshell. It all started to make sense. Bombshells tonight, left and right. Bombshell that we're going into a big calamity by September. Bombshell, the recession's happening next year. Bombshell that Liz Warren has it right, and bombshell, Jay Powell has it really wrong. So does Joe Biden. It's that type of community that helps breathe positive thinking, helps breathe smart thinking. Learn to earn, especially in an economy in which things are changing very dramatically. Welcome to this channel. If you just found this channel tonight, if you haven't, you've been a long-time viewer, tell people to come on over. I'm here to help as many people as I can and to get this community as large as it can be, because in the next 90 days, you're going to see a brand new look to this channel. More of what you enjoy and more in a better way than ever before. Tell people to come on over, because we need to get together as a family and survive this as a family, because it's going to get very dark very, very quickly, and I don't want people to come on too late before things turn for the south. With that, have a beautiful evening. The shows continue throughout the night with Ian's LA every night at 5 o'clock, evenings countdown at 6, streams almost at 7, evenings extra at 8, sunset at 9. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful night. Did you become a member? Do it right now. Do it right now. Go under this video, join the channel what everyone's talking about. America's #3 most watched financial news, heading to #2. It's Lalate.